Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. This is the second video on important functions or the frequent functions on DataFrame in Python. So let me start with identifying unique elements. So imagine you have a case. So this is our old data frame from the previous video, and then you can find the link for the previous video in the description below. And the goal here is to identify unique elements in this column for ID or any specific column that you like. So I'm going to use dfid.unique to list, and then this is going to give me a list of unique elements in this specific column. Or you could do this for any specific row. So that's why here I use df.look ken.unique to list, and then it gives me the unique elements in this specific row. You see, I have 4 elements here because 19 is repeated twice. That's why I have 4 elements here. So remember just one thing, whenever you are addressing one row or rows, you must use df.look. If you are addressing the column, you just put the header of the column over here, and then it is going to be fine. So this way we find unique elements, the actual unique elements in any row or any column. But sometimes you would like to know the unique elements plus their counts. For this purpose, we use value underline counts. So let me show you. Again, you check, so you pick the specific column, and then dot value counts. It is going to give you the unique elements over here and their counts. The same goes through for any specific row. That's why I have df.look ken value underline counts, and then we have unique elements and their counts. Sometimes we would like, so we don't care what the actual unique elements are. We would like to know their counts only. So number of unique elements. So that's why we must use dot n unique, or we can use, of course, the dot n unique. So let me show you the data frame here. So this is our data frame, and then when I put access 1, the comparison is made column by column. So it is like the direction is from left to right. So the comparison is made from left to right. So df.n unique access is 1. So for Martin, I have 5 unique elements. For Ken, I have 4 unique elements. For Ben, I have 5 unique elements. So I don't care what the actual unique elements are. I just want to know number of unique elements. And then the same here, we have df.n unique access is 0. It means that, so I make my comparison like from top to bottom. So that's why access is 0. So in data frames, access 0 means from top to bottom, and then access 1 is from left to right. So for ID, I have 4 unique elements. You see, only number of unique elements are given. So the next thing I would like to cover over here is that identify duplicates and remove them. So let's consider this new data frame, and then I'm going to add this data frame to our old data frame, which was df. That's why I'm going to use pd.concat df new and then access 0. It means that this new will go under will go below, in fact, df. So that this is what you see, and then we call it dfn. So let me show you what's going on over here. The first row for the new data frame is Julia. And if you take a look more closely, you see the elements for Julia is the same as the elements for Ken. So actually, we have different indices for Julia and Ken, but the actual elements and the actual elements in each row, in these 2 rows, are exactly the same. And Anna is duplicated over here. Julia, of course, is duplicated. Martin is duplicated, and Julia is duplicated. This means that the last 5 rows are duplicated. So if you want to find out which rows are duplicated, so we use df.n dot duplicated. So we get false, false, false for everything, and then we get true for the last 5 rows. And then that's why I was explaining why the first Julia must be true, because the elements for Julia and Ken are the same. And then it is so obvious why I'm getting Anna to be true, which means is duplicated, because I have Anna over there, I have Julia, that must be true, and then Martin, I have Martin over there, that's why it should be true. So the first Julia was in fact a little bit confusing, which I explained to you the reason. So this gives me, okay, which rows are duplicated. But what if I would like to know the whole duplicated rows, like all duplicated rows? So again, I'm working with rows, so I'm going to use dfn.log and then dfn.duplicated. This gives me all duplicated rows. And then you might have a question, okay, I would like to know the duplicated row, like all rows with duplicated ID. So here I use dfn id.duplicated, and then it gives me all rows with duplicated ID values or ID number, whatever. So another question is, you may say, no, I would like to have the part of the data frame with no duplicated. So again, df.log, I use this symbol over here, and then df.duplicated. So I get the part of the data frame with no duplicate. Again, you could have, okay, you may say, okay, I want part of the data with the data frame with ID with no duplicate. So in which no ID is duplicated. This is the question. And then again, you use this small symbol over here. It gives you that part of the data frame in which ID is not duplicated at all. So the next thing I would like to cover is arithmetics on data frame. Imagine you have a shop, and then this is the amount of sale in different months and in different categories like grocery, meat, dairy, bread, whatever. So you have these values, and then you say, okay, there is another branch somewhere else which is 10 pounds more expensive. So I would like, so you would need to add 10 to all these values. You just say, just so simple, branch dot add 10, or you could say there is another branch which is 20% more expensive, so it means that you need to multiply 1.2 to all this, so branch 1.mul 1.2, and then there is another branch which is branch 4, which is 5 pounds cheaper, so branch 1 sub 5, so you are gonna take away 5 pounds from all these numbers, and then you have a case like you have another branch which is 50% cheaper, so you have to divide all these numbers by 2, so branch 1.div, which is division divided by 2, and then you get branch 5. And then look at branch 2, so you see 10 is added to all these numbers and values we have over here. The next thing, which is very important, is extract a part of data frame based on a condition. So you would like to extract some rows. That's why, so I'm working with our initial data frame with names and their marks. So I'm going to use df.look because I need to extract some rows, and then what is my condition? I want those people who got more than 13 for math. Sorry. So df math is greater than 13. This is my condition. And then df.log, it gives me .log, in fact, it gives me all rows, all people who got more than 13 for math, as you can see. And if you had two conditions, you would use like both conditions and then with and over here. And remember, your condition must be inside brackets. Or if you need to put like or instead of and, you could use this symbol and then you get the result. And then another thing is that what if you want to change something in your data frame based on two conditions or one condition? So again, you have two conditions. So A3 is a copy of df, and then so it is done in place. Remember, it is done in place. So A3.look, and then this is condition 1, condition 2, and then I want math and arts to be 0 and 1, for any reason. To be 0 and 1. So this is the way it is done. So, and then this is the result. So in this video, I have tried to introduce some important functions. And so if you have, I hope you have found it helpful. If you have any question, leave a comment, and I hope you have enjoyed. So take care and see you soon. Bye.